Welcome to the 359. I'm Ben Fox-Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Google did a good job of wowing the crowd at its I/O developer conference this week, but it left out a lot of questions related to privacy and data collection, two areas that are getting much more attention these days following Facebook's Cambridge Analytica scandal. Alfred, do you see this as a bit of an oversight on Google's part, or do you think that it's, okay, why would they do this? It's not like Google is stuck in a
I don't
scandal
think it's that much of an oversight. I think that, they kind of follow Facebook's idea of we provide a really great service for free, so you can but we need your data to do it. In the same way, all the features that they showed off, Google Assistant now knows where you work, so you can have your map lead you to it using AI very easily. That essentially means that Google has all this information on you already, and they still showed it off. So it looked very bold in the sense of hey, we know what time you're gonna wake up, we know what time you get home, we know where you work. But check it out, we got all these cool features to help you out with it. Like Google Photos feature that they showed off, where it's hey, we can colorize some of your old photos now using AI. That also means that they have complete access to all your photos and your childhood memories and all that stuff. So
I think a lot of tech companies these days are also trying to present the trade-offs. Mm-hmm. They understand that users are getting a little bit savvier, a little bit more uncomfortable with providing too much information to them. So they say, look, you can delete this information, you can get rid of it, or we don't have to hold it for you, but the quality of the service is going to be worse. Mm-hmm. I feel like Google says that, Facebook says that too these days, and I don't know, maybe consumers are going to get more annoyed about that.
If you want a service that really doesn't have that much information on you, but you still want good AI, look at Siri on Apple. Look at how it compares to Google's AI.
It
doesn't collect that much info.
Yeah, and it's not that good. Related to the Facebook scandal, Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee today released more than 3,000 Facebook ads bought by Russian trolls from 2015 to 2017. Alfred, you wrote about this. Did we learn anything new with this big data dump?
Yeah, so I spent a good amount of time looking at the ads last night and this morning. So I found the most successful Facebook ad. It was a Back the Badge group that got more than 1 million views on it, and it only cost them about $1,000 to get that many views. And they went across a lot of different spectrum. So the second most viewed was a pro Mexico Facebook page that got about 900,000 views on it. So they really hit all the targets here.
So they're just trying to incite chaos, like you said. They're trying to hit. Every trigger possible.
There were
Republican,
9 different
Democrat.
categories on it that I'll probably talk about in the post show.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the next story. Also, Spotify is going to be banning or burying hateful music or artists. This is already being dubbed the R. Kelly rule, because apparently R. Kelly is going to get bounced from playlists and also going to get buried on Spotify. It definitely raises, I think, questions about does this give Spotify too much power? But who knows?
I think Spotify is looking at its role as a radio station a lot more, because radio stations do this a lot. There was a radio station in Detroit that said it would never play any Kanye West songs ever again after the all his Twitter rants last week.
That's totally political though, but okay.
I think they have a right to choose what they want on their platform though. It'll be interesting to see how Spotify decides what's hateful and what isn't. I remember last year they also banned a lot of white supremacist rock bands off of Spotify, so it's not like this is the first time they've done anything like this.
Okay, last, U.S. Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao yesterday announced 10 projects to test out using drones in U.S. skies. I think this one's pretty exciting. FedEx is going to be involved in testing out delivery drones in airports. There's also going to be delivery of medical packages like defibrillators. Amazon, though, wasn't included in this latest round of approvals. Anyway, we're out of time, so if you want to read more about these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Ben Fox-Rubin.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for listening.
That's actually our new sign-off song.
I like that.
So where does Spotify stand if I just hate something?
Don't be a musician.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Alfred,
It's a good controversial issue, I would say. Because what about the First Amendment? What about like what actually like counts as hateful speech?
Spotify is a
Really hard to
private
say.
service. Spotify is a private opt-in service. Alfred, I'm glad you brought the comparison up, excuse me, to a radio station, because I feel that's exactly the case. And you have every right to just cancel your Spotify account and move somewhere else to get the content you want.
Is that screen supposed to be blue?
Don't worry about that. It's the same deal as like a cord cutter. I don't want to watch TV because I don't like what's on TV. If Spotify doesn't deliver the content I want, I'll go elsewhere. I, for one, don't care for R. Kelly. At me, bros.
Wait a minute, but what about the Kanye West point that you were making?
Yeah, but that's like,
That,
one radio. But also, like,
But like Kanye West supporting the president should
I mean,
ban him
like
from
I
radio?
like I said, like I think
if it's a privately owned radio station.
I mean, I think it's more than him just supporting the president, but that's for another thing. I mean, like I said, it'll be interesting to see like what they consider hate speech, because like there's a lot of people that think that Beyonce is like an anti-police, like Black Panther protester kind of thing, but like I think a lot of people would disagree with that. So it's like, where is Spotify's like perspective on this?
Right. I think the broader message here is that like everything is getting more political. A lot of businesses are now being asked to take sides in a lot of like social and political culture wars that are going on. Spotify has obviously decided that they want to weigh in, but you raise like the obvious point, which is, how do you determine what is hateful?
Yeah.
When you mention the thing about like white supremacist rock bands, like, I don't know, I'm sitting here being like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, you know, but like when you're going to go and bring it to R. Kelly, who has not actually been charged, he's only been accused of things, that puts it more into a gray area.
Yeah,
I would argue.
I think the push for this has come from a lot of folks that have wanted a lot of radio stations to basically boycott R. Kelly and take him off the airwaves for a long time. And it's not really like, it's not the content of his music, more so that like, you know, there's all these allegations against him
that have been circling around him for very, very
and I think
long
it's
time.
more of a boycott perspective of, you know, stop helping this man make millions of dollars and like supporting him.
There's a difference with somebody like an R. Kelly that is a news headline making controversy, as opposed to somebody just not wanting to do this because they don't like it. What's more wrong? Me being a DJ at a radio station saying, "Oh, I'm never going to play Hall & Oates again because I think they suck," which would never be the case because I absolutely love Hall & Oates.
That's a weird reference.
Why did you use them as an example? Then?
Because I always played Hall & Oates. In fact, I was told to play less Hall & Oates when I was a DJ.
Oh, by the way, I want to correct myself. R. Kelly was charged. He wasn't convicted.
Thank you. But I mean, that's just statistics at play. If you really look at it, at least to me, that's people saying like, no, he does kind of objectively suck at everything. Why would I want to support this? Because it does better business for me? Well, there's a lot of people who agree and don't want to hear R. Kelly songs anymore because they're disgusted by his behavior.
It's also interesting to see, like, if Spotify is doing this, I wonder where other platforms will go. Like, I don't know if, like, Netflix would do the same thing with, like, Louis and all their specials that they paid him millions for.
I feel like HBO already did that.
They are definitely still on Netflix, though.
HBO got rid of the Louis C.K. Comedy specials.
Yeah, but what about the like Netflix?
On like its digital platform? On Netflix, it's different.
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm wondering, like, if Spotify is doing something like this, I wonder like how it will influence like other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the ultimate question coming in from APEC in the chat. That's what I was wondering. What would they consider hate speech? Who draws a line and rules, and why does everything have to be about politics? Getting sick of it all. Touche.
Good point.
I think what matters is it doesn't matter because Spotify, although it's publicly traded, right?
Mm-hmm. It is now.
It's still privately.
It's a private.
managed,
it's a business,
so they can make the choice about their product. I mean, that's the core of privileged American rights system as it is.
Well, not exactly. I mean, like, you're not allowed to discriminate as a business in a variety of ways. Now, is this discriminatory against R. Kelly?
But public figures are not protected by slander and libel in all cases.
Well put. Well, you guys are making very good points about this.
I think Spotify has the right to do whatever the hell they want with the content that they publish.
I mean, like,
any label, they can sign
and if they decide,
or drop an artist as they feel.
To excessively limit things, they put too many things in the bucket of this is hateful because I don't like Hall & Oates, like the example that you were proposing.
Everybody
People
loves
aren't
Hall &
going to
Oates,
use.
though.
but people aren't going to use the service anymore because they're being like way too restricted.
Exactly.
So,
And as we've had brought up so many times in recent memory, especially when Joan's here, there are lots of fantastic alternatives out there to find the content you want. And they're all pretty okay price these days.
It's
kinda.
just
Or you
it's,
can
it's
just buy
really
the
interesting when
digital
you
downloads.
think
Or that.
about music as a sense of like, protest music or any kind of like it's supposed to be like an artistic thing. So like, would you consider like any songs by like NWA like a hateful song about like police or anything like that?
Fantastic question.
It's a
That's
great
an
question.
absolute possibility.
or like the YouTube video from Childish Gambino, which is like, kind of goes across the board. Is that hateful? I mean, like, I wouldn't perceive it that way, but
Listen, as long as
or
Spotify...
is it like hateful or violence? Like, it was obviously violent, but it was done with a political message in mind. So
That's very true. And if we start going down that path, all we're going to have left on Spotify is VeggieTales.
VeggieTales is very hateful. Okay.
Interested to see where this goes, just being somebody with a history in music.
I'm glad we added in this topic at
Yeah.
the very last
Well,
minute.
it's always good discussion, and I'm glad we're not getting too overly biased and political with it. But if you're in the chat, let's hear what you think. Who's an artist? And be serious. Let's take this one seriously because we could easily run with the jokes on this one. Who do you think Spotify is likely to drop from the roster? Who do you think deserves it?
Ted Nugent.
There you go.
Oh man, seriously, man, I
He's
don't
questionable.
agree. Why would he be questionable? Why? Because
he's made
he's a
some-
gun lover.
No, absolutely not. But because he's made some off-color,
Okay,
and,
that's true.
if
He's
He's
not
also very
threatening comments.
anti-Muslim.
That's okay. All right, those are good points.
He literally threatened to shoot the president.
Yeah.
The
Speaking of
former
which,
president.
YG's song, like, that would be considered like hateful under this. Yeah, there's a lot of like gray area here.
Extremely.
There's a lot
And
of gray area.
where do you draw the line with artistic integrity and expression? So,
YG also threatened to shoot the president, so yeah, there
I
you
guess
go.
It takes all sides.
woof. All right, next topic. Good discussion. Ryan Williams wants to talk about the privacy. Not so much wants to talk about the privacy, brings up a good point, and I'm kind of with Ryan on this one. Personally, I don't mind having Google have all that information since I don't really have anything to hide, but it's only to help you, or so I hope. And it's just like, I'm with him on that as far as that goes. Is it a slippery slope?
It's a trust issue.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm glad that he's willing to trust Google, and it's different for everybody. But I've never really been a fan of the argument of you don't have anything to hide, so you should let people like see all your information.
I
Well,
totally
then
agree.
opt out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't,
You
or
can't
don't
opt out of Google.
or say
it's
don't
almost
opt in.
impossible to opt out of Google entirely.
I mean, you could just not use
Don't
any
use
Google
it.
products.
How would you do that? Like, how is that even possible?
You use Yahoo. For
You could
your
use
mail.
Bing,
Alta
Yeah, for
Vista,
searching.
DuckDuckGo, AltaVista.
Yeah,
doesn't
a lot of
exist.
people have switched to
Ask
DuckDuckGo
Jeeves.
over like privacy concerns. So.
Firefox. There are
Yeah.
alternatives. There are a variety.
Apple Maps.
You
and
would-
here's
you
the
would
fun
have
part.
to-
They're all mining your data.
yeah. I mean, you would have to really go out of your way to do that, and Google just makes it oh so easy to just hand over all your information.
Yep.
So it's like the point that you were making in the podcast. Like, they know where your workplace is. It's like Google knows where my house is, and Google's known where my house is, and like what like GPS location I'm in on a daily basis at all times. So it's just that's been
I
the
think,
truth for years.
I think of it more as like a necessary type of information. Like if you were asking somebody like how to get like home from where you are, like just a random stranger on the street, and he's like, okay, well, where do you live? And you're like, no, I don't want to tell you.
I'm
that.
outta
Like,
here.
I want my privacy. Okay, like that. It's like you need to hand over some type of information to get help in that sense. So I understand like why Google has some of this data, but it was just interesting that they were so like brazen about it. Where it's just like, no, look, forget it. Like we got all these cool, amazing features. Don't worry about us knowing all this. But anyway,
yeah.
I've always come from the mindset of like, do they really care about you? You're nothing more than a blip. You're a number. You're a statistic.
no, but they really care about selling that for tons of money. So.
Sure. And I'll keep saying, try to sell me something I want. Yeah, I know it's a weak argument, but I'm still in that mindset of, I don't really have anything to hide.
Let's take this conversation to the point of what people were talking about with Facebook F8, where they were like, should Facebook have a paid service where they're not packaging your data to sell ads to you? or to sell advertisers your information. And a lot of people thought that that was a great idea. Facebook Plus, Facebook subscription service. Like, I personally would never buy Facebook.
There's been a lot of like consumer studies on that, and like no one really wants to pay for that. I'd say like maybe like 1 in 10 people would pay for that. I would also assume that those 1 in 10 people probably have the money to spare on that.
Right. Or that 1 in 10 people isn't on Facebook right now.
And I don't think the number's even that high.
I agree.
Josh Boyd says, I don't mind if Google has my information if it makes my life a little more convenient. Ryan goes on to expand. I guess the thing is, the worst thing that can happen with Google having your information, someone hacking and stealing your info. So it's not about Google having it, it's about Google not protecting it. And then DeMonte said the same thing. We don't know the people at Google. So really, what is the tipping point for everybody? Are you scared of somebody else abusing this? Are you scared of, maybe scared is not the right word. Are you concerned that Google just has too much? What are you willing to trade for the services that come with giving up a little bit of your privacy?
Honestly, even with like hacking and your information getting stolen, I don't think that's enough for you to get people to stop using Google. I mean, like,
I'm not saying people are going to stop using Google.
I'm just saying, like,
and to be fair to Google, the likelihood of Google getting hacked is much lower than, some no-name smart home company that like makes a device in your house. Like they have more controls and more protections than some of the startups.
Yeah, but I'm just like, Facebook like had the scandal of its life, just last month, and they're still kind of like dealing with it. But like the whole delete Facebook movement that looked like it was like growing is like completely dead now. There's no tweets about that. No. And like they made more money even after the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Like people stayed on Facebook. Like there was all this outrage over it in Congress, but like you go to like Main Street, you go to like somebody's home or something like that. No one has left Facebook. Like people don't really care.
I would say that like in my own personal life, that scandal did resonate on Main Street. Like I talked to people like on the weekend, my neighbors, whatever. They actually recognized and they paid attention to that story. Outside of the tech world,
are they still using Facebook?
Of course,
yeah. Then
of course, but it was at least something that was recognized.
Oh yeah,
and I think that that matters to the point that Facebook is now on notice, and if they screw up again, everybody's going to remember this situation. And I do think that is important because some of those problems could potentially compound after a while.
I mean, historically speaking, we've always wanted to know more about each other and ways to exploit it. I mean, looking back at the Nielsen box, even though that does still exist, it's far less valuable. But that's just to track your TV watching habits in order to better cater television.
Commercials.
I mean, look at the census. I mean, people are just finding new ways to delve deeper. If they could put a Nielsen box on everybody, they would. Oh, wait, they have.
In your brains.
In your pocket.
I actually saw a Nielsen box for the first time.
I've never seen one. Is it cool?
My girlfriend's mom has one.
What?
And you have like this remote that like you can designate. So it's like there's designated like who's watching buttons.
Is there an incognito version or like?
Is
there a version
not watching TV? But you get paid for it though.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think that's why she does it.
Pretty minimal.
Yeah.
Anyway. Let's switch over to the drone topic real quick before we wrap it up for the day. APEC says, for the drones, are they going to be using that drop service here in the U.S.? And if so, wouldn't millions of drones flying overhead, dropping things off, cause some issues?
Oh, to be clear, this is very small, limited, highly regulated testing that's going on. We are not anywhere close in the U.S. to having drones flying over your heads delivering you toothpaste.
Civilian level air traffic control.
No, not even close. And Amazon wasn't even included in this. So they've been pouring money into Prime Air and really trying to develop their drone delivery program. At this point, they weren't included in this group of 10. Some of these projects sound really cool. It's like, emergency defibrillator services or, airplane inspections. So you would have a drone like flying around an airplane to make sure everything's safe and everything's well taken care of. But getting it to consumers, that's going to take a really long time, or it will never get there. But there's a possibility that just it just doesn't
I
happen.
remember I wrote a story about like 3 years ago about South Texas like police officers getting drones for like just in time for like the spring break rush. And when I asked them like, so what are you using these drones for? They like gave the most wholesome answers where it's like, oh, we can use these if somebody's drowning out in the middle of the ocean. We can kind of drop a life jacket off to them
pretty
with their
sweet.
drone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not what you're using the drones for. Like,
Oh,
but you
it's for like
could.
crowd control.
yeah,
basically?
like it was like make sure people weren't like doing drugs on like the beach or anything like that. Like they used that to patrol the beach. They didn't drop a single life jacket that weekend.
It's too bad because I really like the life jacket idea.
Well,
That's
going on that-
totally awesome life saving.
Going on that same theme, living here in New York, you see the traffic that emergency services have to battle just to do their jobs, right? Now, I'm not saying they could put a whole fire truck in a drone, but think about the...
But that would be awesome.
that would be dope, right?
That would be
Wait,
Transformer
why
drone.
why wouldn't they just get the drone with like a hose attached to it and like fly up?
That
and,
thing
like,
would have to be
shoot water?
massive to get the appropriate amount of pressure behind it to actually do anything. But maybe
Be
like
lighter
a small
than a truck.
And I'm thinking more like the defibrillator concept. If
Sure.
somebody is, in the middle of Central Park and having a heart attack and people call emergency services, it's going to take a longer time for an ambulance to get there to go through the gates and get through the traffic than for a drone to just boom,
Right.
drop.
And the good news is that this testing gets us one step closer to that.
Yeah.
But to assume that this is actually going to result in your life changing anytime soon, no. That's not going to happen. This is the U.S. in particular is taking a very slow and deliberate process when it comes to drone regulation.
Good.
They want to make sure that they get it right. They don't want any packages falling on your head.
oh
Which
my
is
goodness, we're doing something slow with
which is great from
deliberate
safety.
caution.
It's great from a safety perspective, from an innovation perspective. The U.S. has to be mindful and aware of that. There are other countries out there that are being a little bit looser with their regulations and therefore may innovate a little bit faster than we do.
Rodney Art Design in the chat says the drone testing is coming to San Diego and they're looking forward to it. Keep us posted. We want to see what you see. Fill us in, hit us in the chat, tweet at us, email us. Let us know what your experience is, even on the outskirts of it. If you're seeing anything cool developing, what the processes and experiments might be looking like, if you have any kind of vantage point to it.
Yo, by the way, there's this one, I just remembered there's one really cool project where there's interceptor drones where like if a drone is flying somewhere it's not supposed to, there's an interceptor drone like a hawk that will come and show up and take it out.
I want to watch that nature documentary. I want to watch like a Werner Herzog narrated in the drone.
Drones taking out other drones.
The drone in the mating season punches too close to the old drone nest. And then this thing just
Terrible
kinda
Werner
flies.
Herzog.
Then we got to get Josh Goldman in here to do that impression.
Probably
and
shoots a
then,
net.
Oh my God, I want to see
Spider
that.
drone.
I want to see a fake documentary where it's
a lot of
just
cool
all drones
stuff.
and robots.
A lot of cool stuff with drones, but
Okay,
just take it easy, everybody, because it's going to take a long time.
for the robot lords to take over. Hey, but it didn't take a long time for us to get through this show. We are out of time. We are ending it for the week. It's been a great week. We've covered some decent topics. Yeah, we had to focus a lot on Google I/O, but some
Hey, it was
neato
interesting.
stuff did happen in Google I/O. So thanks everybody for joining in the chat. And what do you got
Roger
going
is
on next?
still away. Roger is still away next week, so you're stuck with us for all of next week, but then he's going to be back the week afterward.
For what it's worth, we have no idea where he is. He's completely lost.
Off the grid.
We're sending out rescue teams.
Rescue
we're sending
drones.
out
Rescue drones,
to
actually.
find Roger. So yeah.
But yeah, anyway, the 359 podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Feedburner, Google Play Music, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com. Thanks everybody for joining in and celebrating our 400th episode. Alfred and Brian, it's been a real pleasure.
It has.
And everybody enjoy the weekend and stay safe out there.
To 400 more.
Well done.